Welcome back. This, of course, is K24 this morning, looking at the big stories of the day as you get up and get ready for your day. You can tweet us at K24 TV. You can also SMS us on 21222. We have Ali at BigDad001 saying that it seems like our politicians' brains have been colonized. They seem to be clueless on what the actual needs on the ground are. This, of course, is from Mark's statement that now that the handshake has happened, now ODM all of a sudden seems like they didn't even campaign against the Jubilee Party. They're all talking from one script, and the fact that they followed the leader from what Ali says here, right here, almost blindly, that's an issue that they'll talk about. Major Gitugi is saying that Jubilee will clinch that Kibra seat. Period. He's done on that particular one. That's his prediction. Alex Chicks, at least William Ruto and Mariga are bringing in healthy competition to end the tale that Kibra is someone's bedroom. Those claims had been made. Keep those tweets coming in at K24 TV. We'll be sampling them, of course, throughout the show right here. Let's move on to another story that now actually affects the entire country. National examinations starting tomorrow, KCPE happening. I just want to talk about the fact that we have a state where we have candidates being told this is not the end of your life, but we'll have police officers, we'll have choppers, we'll have all of these things ready to go.
You're doing that exam.
Okay, some people are saying CBC is the only way we'll cure this craziness we have with examinations and the do or die on this particular one. But as we have these last examinations going on, how do we ease the tension and the pressure that our candidates usually undergo every single time a national examination comes their way? Because clearly we can see every single time this happens, there's a big problem as to how it's supposed to be carried out. The pressure is there, tales of cheating and curbing cheating, carrying the day on this particular one. Let me start with you, Nerima, on this one. How do we, as we wait for CBC to get to that particular point, how do we try and just calm the temperature so that as candidates go to, I think this is the only country where national examinations make headlines, a police force is called in. It seems like almost a mini state of emergency.
I know, okay, so if I was that candidate, KCP, where I had a panic attack, literally. I did not want to pick up my results. And so I did my own little thing. I do teach Sunday school at Lavington United Church. So I do teach that class 8s now. And so we had a lesson yesterday, and I talked about that in terms of fear. A lot of them who are 12 to 13 years of age, that's the first time that they're coming face to face with stress. They begin to identify pressure. They begin to identify, my parents really want a lot from me. I don't want to let them down. And what does the future hold for me? And we just, you know, we prayed about it, but one, and most importantly, it was just about measuring yourself and understanding the fact that what I thought I wanted to be at that age is not what I became to be. Right. And just understanding to be flexible with life itself. Right. And we had a meeting with their parents earlier that morning, yesterday morning, and I told them just as much, please spend some time with your children at this moment just to understand where their mind is right now. And you know, some of them were talking about how their children are a bit of in a daze, where you're seeing them just sitting and contemplating deeply, and you're wondering, what is this 12-year-old, 13-year-old thinking about so deeply? And we need to start understanding that standardized tests are not a measure of intelligence. We need to start viewing that success is not a measure of wealth. And young people understanding that the dynamics of our futures are changing. When you're even talking about artificial intelligence, when you're talking about access to Google, when my niece who is 10 knows how to get onto her computer and laptop, send emails in a time when, at the time, I didn't even know how to type at 10 years old. So you're beginning to see there's a shift where it's not necessarily about how much you know, it's about how well you can adapt. Right. And youth need to be able to understand it's about having the necessary skills to survive in our kind of world today, and not necessarily how well you can memorize things and recite them to get a grade that in our country cannot even support you.
Okay, let's have Mr. Ben Mulo chime in on this. Good morning.
Good morning, man.
Jeff, how are you? We have a feeling that Mark, you might have to return that alarm clock that you were given.
Actually, yeah.
It has served you well thus far. Return it to its rightful owner now.
You know, Ben Mulo is one of those...
He's got the hang of it now.
One of those politicians who show up
with an empty briefcase, hand it over, and then after a few months saying, please give me back my millions of shillings.
Morning, Ben. Of course, we're talking about this premium that we've put on national examinations.
Yes.
We're saying that probably the CBC and attention on, talents and other things might, reduce that. But as of now, for the time being, how to reduce this premium? Because yes, Magoha might tell parents, do not put a premium on the examination.
Yes.
But you look at how the ministries are addressing this particular issue. Every candidate would feel like this is a do or die.
Absolutely. And you realize that, Jeff, over the years, we have built a society whereby we have this obnoxious obsession with grades, whereby content is no longer of any significance. We no longer value competence. It is about, we have built a society whereby it is full-time cutthroat competition. Look at the way we behave even in basic queues, like if we are queuing for a matatu, or even in the bank, or even for any other service. Somebody is always striving to cut a corner to be ahead of the rest. Look at the way we behave even in traffic. Somebody, their red light has just run, their red light has just turned on, but they still want to make sure they cut in front of you just to make sure that they are ahead of you. That's the society we have built, whereby it is so much about who is ahead rather than what we are putting ahead of us. And that's how we have lost the value systems. This obsession with grades has pushed people to believe that you must score those A's for you to become anything in this country. Yet in reality, that does not count. In so many ways. Success in this country was largely narrowed down to be about what papers are you bringing on board, not what qualities, what attributes, what characteristics are you putting on the table. And that's why I have had the opportunity to actually participate in the recruitment of even large organizations. And you'll be very surprised. Somebody will send in a CV, even with a master's degree in this or the other field, and they cannot even write an application letter. The grammar is horrible. The punctuation does not exist. They do not even know where to insert capital letters. You know, those are basic things you'd imagine a class 4 or a class 6 child should be able to do. But now the emphasis is so much on ensuring that you score an A, which whatever means you achieve that doesn't count. And again, we need to realize that this obsession with academics, rather than skills, is actually what is killing this country. Because we have ended up with a society whereby we have even colleges that are supposed to be training basic skills that can push this country forward, teaching courses that are not supposed to be in their line of duty. I'll give you an example. I don't understand why the Jomo Kenyatta of University of Agriculture and Technology teaches commerce, for example. Yet we are talking about agriculture and technology, which are the backbone of this economy today. I don't understand why the Egerton University teaches bachelors of commerce. So this pressure that is at the top is what we have been exerting on our children. It's like going to a Lions school should be is a do or die thing. Yet some of us actually went to very remote schools. I keep telling my people, Makia knows. I went to high school in a school called Tiamundu. In fact, if you Google, you are not going to find that school. And that never really affected who I am or what I wanted to become in life. So we must begin to build a society whereby we teach our children skills and emphasize on that, because we have sportsmen, we have people who are so gifted in the arts, we have people gifted in so many other areas. So this idea of making sure that if you do not score a C+ and above, then it's like the end of life for you, is actually what is exerting this kind of pressure. So even for parents, now everybody has to push. In fact, even parents are the ones who have been behind most of this cheating in the exams, because whichever way they can be able to ensure that their kids scores an A, they are going to take it. Yes.
Okay, let me bring Mark in on this as well as we move on to the BBI. But before that, how do we eliminate this premium pressure? Because if you have a candidate in your family or neighbor, you can tell the mood has changed, and more so as we got into this last weekend, coming into Monday, you can see the disposition has changed, because these 3 days seems to be the definition of what their future will be. How do we eliminate this premium in terms of these national examinations?
First, we need to just make Kenyans understand that you cannot cheat yourself out of stupid. That's the biggest lie you can ever tell yourself, because if you cheat on an exam, it does not mean you become intelligent. And that's really what we need to emphasize. The second thing we need to emphasize is parents having this belief that sitting an exam is the only way to tell the future for your children. In fact, a lot of parents, if you ask them in the last 1 year how many times they've seen their children, they'll tell you they've seen their child for a maximum of 2 weeks, because the child is in school, in tuition, in training, and in boarding school the entire year. And that's really the problem, because what is the premium of parenting today? If you ask a parent, what do I need to do for my children, all they say is pay fees. And that's where the rain begins to beat us, because the role of a parent is not to pay fees. First of all, can you just bring us a decent human being? Because some of these people who have A's are very indecent human beings. They have no empathy, they have no social skills, they have no idea of how to interact in society. We are bringing up a group of people who, by the way, are not even politically aware. They don't even know who the deputy president is. They don't know what he does. They don't know what a county commissioner does. They don't know what a governor does. Now, the problem with bringing up such a generation is these are the leaders of tomorrow. So you must ask yourself, what will they lead? So there is a lot of there needs to be a change in terms of what do we consider bringing up a child is. If you don't spend time with your child, that's not your child, it's the teacher's child. If you don't know what is your child's favorite color, you just assume they're a girl, they like pink, and they're a boy, they like blue. You've never interacted with them to know anything about them, and the only time you see them is when they're trending on social media because they've insulted their friends. That's really what needs to change. We need to move from academic-based parenting to love and caregiving-based parenting. Okay. That's the most important thing.
Okay, and of course, we wish those candidates all the best as they see for the examination from tomorrow moving forward.
Thing, and parents need to work with teachers. These parents who go to attack teachers because they disciplined your child are the other problem in this country.
We'll be talking about that, of course, when it comes to matters punishment right there. Let's look at our final topic of the day and deal with this. Duale BBI jibe kicks up storm in Mount Kenya. BBI spells doom for tyranny of numbers. There's something interesting. Rima said that it doesn't seem like we'll even have this report handed to the president soon, even after he returns from Russia, because it seems like the political temperatures are a bit too high for sober debate on this particular report. From where you stand, Ben, because you can see already, nobody knows what the contents are in there, but you had Mount Kenya MPs in Parliament addressing this particular issue, different people speaking to the report even before it has landed. Do we have a situation where this might be handed to the president in December? As we go?
Not even in December. Perhaps if it goes as it is, there is a huge possibility that this BBI thing will never become.
We'll never see the report.
Yeah, and it is for these reasons. First, and I am on record, I indicated that the manner in which the handshake was a very good idea, very good for this country, because a lot of things have really settled down. Even some obscene political temperatures really came down. That we must give it to the president and the former prime minister. Because some of the positions that were being taken politically were becoming too toxic for this country after the 2017 general elections. But the manner in which they have, the two principals have managed the process since March 9, 2018, has left a lot to be desired. Foremost, and you've heard actually a cry from especially Mount Kenya leaders. For 2 years now, they have just been crying to the president to call them for a parliamentary group meeting and explain to them, what is this BBI all about? What is this handshake all about? What is our role as area leaders in terms of integrating our people into this particular process that you want to lead us? That has never happened. It's actually almost 2 years, because March is only a few months away. On the other side, you've seen cases whereby even ODM leaders, most of the times have taken contradictory positions, including senior leaders like Orengo, whereby they take contradictory positions against what the former Prime Minister and Uhuru have been pursuing. That is an indicator that this process has largely remained opaque. Even up to the constitution of this particular team that spearheaded the BBI grassroots activities, most of the leaders were left in the dark. So eventually, becomes really difficult for the president and Raila to be telling people to support something that even they themselves do not know. Like assuming, my assumption would be that even up to now, how can I start telling you to support something that you are not even sure what it contains? The same way they are castigating those who are opposed. Those who are opposed in this process are opposing, insisting that they are only opposing actually imaginations. They have not seen the report. But also on the flip side, the report is not ready out. So this process actually, my issue is the process. That is what was mismanaged, and eventually it may kill a good idea that really was good. But now, more fundamentally, and this is the major challenge that BBI is going to face. Because of the major challenges that Kenyans are facing arising from the Jubilee reign for the last 7 years, a majority of Kenyans today are fatigued. Especially by politicking, while the economy is becoming harsher for every citizen on a daily basis. Believe you me, if eventually this process will culminate in a vote, Kenyans will vote against this, not because the proposals are bad, not because the ideas are bad, but because Kenyans want to send a message to the government. And it is time, actually, perhaps the president takes the lead from the front. As I've been insisting, he still has a couple of months to fix a lot of things around his legacy. So long as Kenyans are struggling economically as it is today, it becomes impossible to continue engaging them endlessly in politics, while at the same time, the real issues that are affecting them are not. These parents who have kids who are sitting for KCP starting tomorrow have no idea how they are going to be paying school fees starting January. Those are the issues that Kenyans want to be discussing.
Let me bring in Nerima, because you added this particular angle, and Ben has taken it further by saying we might not even see this report at all. It's not a delay, just
Yes.
seeing it at all might be a question. It almost seems like from the position the president has given in terms of this report will come out, we shall debate it, and what Raila has said, their word is on the line. If this report isn't seen, well, there's a lot of credibility that will be at stake after they brought all the troops, it seems, together, yet there's no report for them to talk about.
I believe that there is a report. I think the matter at question is how it will be launched, or if it will be launched. And I think that they might try to delay it and all that, but Kenyans right now where we are, we're going to ask about it. Because how can we have a committee set up, a task force set up for a year plus, where they did have some funding to be able to go meet with the people, and then we don't get the results of it. So of course we would want to know. But I think where the direction that it's going is, if the BBI now starts to push for changes, then those changes including a referendum. Right now, Kenyans are extremely exhausted, just as Ben has mentioned. Would we even be willing to now go and vote on changing our laws when people can't even choose or have access to resources to be able to have dinner tonight, or food, or school fees, or a job? The economic factor is something that rings every single day, and people are saying how finances are not circulating. And the fact that we're going into December, we're going to see a lot of families deciding, you know what, I'm not going to be going to the village this year. And that's a big deal, because we're people who every Christmas season, we like to go to our rural homes, we like to be with our family. That's the time that we're able to have festivities and enjoy. And when you start seeing people saying, I'm thinking of taking that out because we do not have the resources to travel, our president should be concerned. He should be concerned.
Mark, let me bring in on this. Even as we wait for the report to be tabled, what in Raila's and President Uhuru Kenyatta's shoes right now, how do they rally their troops together so that once this report is out, it can actually move forward? How do they do that?
You know, I am just amazed at how efficient political communication is in this country. When we say President Uhuru Kenyatta and Raila Odinga rally their troops, have you seen ODM? What does Raila need to rally? Aisha Juma. That's the only rebel in ODM.
So there's no problem with ODM?
No.
ODM is fine.
Think about it. Think about it. Who does Raila need to rally? Orengo? Mbadi? Who? Junet?
So from where you stand, the issue really isn't from this particular camp.
Let's just be very clear that there's no problem there. Number two, I keep saying there's Jubilee A, Jubilee B. Now, the problem is, here on this table, we've bought the agenda of Jubilee, which speaks about the difficulty of BBI and how hard it is, and no one knows what it's about. Yes, you have a 9-point agenda. You know, and this is the funny thing about this country. We like to forget things. So let me remind the country. BBI, there was a handshake. The handshake came with a document. The document had 9 points, which Kenyans gave their contributions towards. The report is about what Kenyans gave contributions towards the 9-point agenda. It is not a 1-point agenda. The question for BBI is not prime minister or no prime minister, and that's where we are all mistaken, because Kenyans today watching me think I'm discussing whether we should have a prime minister or not. That's not really the question. There are questions of ethos, there are questions of corruption, electoral reform, and so many other issues. But we've decided to be mono-sighted and see only one issue. So there's no troops to be rallied to. When you say Kenyans are exhausted, that's an interesting statement, and I'll tell you why. Number one, Kenyans are the same people who are attending all these rallies. When you say they're tired of politics, they are the ones who go to church services where politicians come. They're the ones who line up to go see politicians. So, you know, the game that we play, that we imagine that Kenya is Nairobi and South B and South C and Hurlingham and Kileleshwa, not so. Kenya has a vast public that is today watching this show, which is a political show. Right? So let's not pretend to ourselves that Kenyans are so exhausted they will not participate in something that affects their lives. Ask the people today who were affected by post-election violence. Ask the people who were affected by 2017 and how harsh the environment was. Those people are interested in it. But also, let's remember, we do not have a Schengen democracy where it's compulsory for everyone to vote. Those who are tired can stay out of it. I can tell you the 20% who will appear will determine your future anyway. Okay. And that's the kind of debate that we cannot excuse. If you're suffering as a Kenyan, then the political process is something that you need to invest yourself fully in.
Of course, even as we get into our parting shot on this particular, and very quickly, just one comment on this. If the BBI report was, given today, tabled today, do you feel it would actually sail through?
Well, the thing is this.
With the state of the political environment?
Yes, it would.
That's your take on it?
Yes.
We shall debate that on another day, of course, as we wait for the report on whether it will land or not. But you have to know, because of time, we'll have to jump into our parting shots this morning. I'll start with Nerima as we get into the week proper. What's your parting shot?
For me, it's to wish the KCPE candidates all the best in their exams.
Okay, and of course, it starts tomorrow, so all the best right there. Mr. Ben Mula, what's your parting shot today?
Mine is just to wish all the candidates the best in their exams. And this is not the end of your life. We have seen a lot of stress levels, especially within teenagers. Believe you me, scoring an A or an E is neither here nor there. What is in you is actually what counts, and that is actually what shall make you. It is not the grades you have. Papers can never define a human being.
Okay, fantastic stuff. And Mark Buchachi, your parting shot today?
I don't know which candidate is watching this show, but if you are, there's a popular saying called Cheza Kama Wewe, because the best part about being you is no one can ever fire you from being you. Right. So be yourself. Second thing, Uhuru Park is 32 acres. It is not 23 meters. It is 32 acres. And that quarter an acre that is being used for construction will be open again for use. So I don't understand why this country is in a panic.
No, I have to dispute that.
No,
I have to dispute that.
Dispute
Very, 2 seconds.
2
seconds. I have to dispute that. I have to dispute that. You know why? There's one legislator, I can't remember when we were doing the Southern Bypass, who pointed out something very important, that we must not resort to being a country whereby we keep destroying infrastructure to build infrastructure. And I'll give you a scenario. What we need as a country is to begin an elaborate scheme to relocate the capital city of this country. Nairobi is already overdone. We can't stretch it any further. That is where the emphasis should be. This idea, like Konza City has been sitting here for about 10 years.
You don't feel that Uhuru Park should be hived off?
We can do better than that, believe you me. Okay. We can't just be, go to Washington, go to London. We can't be destroying what we have in the idea of trying to build what we don't have.
He had his final say. Let me finish mine. It is 32 acres. It's not being hived off. For as long as that space is still usable, is still accessible, and is still beautiful, then it's not been hived off. And let's be very, very clear that we are the same country. When the SGR terminates at Suswa, we say it's nowhere because we don't want to build a city there. Now we want to move the city. We need to make up our minds. If we need to deal with traffic and make Syokimau to Westlands a 20 minutes journey and from the airport to town a 10 minutes journey, then we need to bite the bullet and do what is needed. But this story that now Uhuru Park will be covered by a shadow is nonsensical. Uhuru Park is 32 acres. The people arguing about it have no idea what the size is. They've not even looked at the plans to see what will happen with those 23 meters after. Let's be realistic, people. We cannot have problems for every solution in this country.
We leave it at that. As far as the newspaper review is concerned this morning, is Mark Bichachi feeling very passionate as far as this Uhuru Park issue is concerned. We'd like your take as well at K24 TV. You can also SMS us on 21222. But that's where we draw the curtains on our newspaper review this morning. Thank you so much, Mark Bichachi, for making time. Ben Mulo and Rima Wako, Asante sana for making time. Please, Mark, as you go into the break, return the alarm clock. The job with you is done.
This one doesn't need an alarm clock. I'll give him a Luya crow from a cock from the village.
Okay, we take a break. We are back with Interactive after the break.